All right. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. So good to see all of you. I apologize for not being around last month. Everybody in my house had the flu. So unfortunately, I had to deal with that. And then just I had some travel. So last month was just kind of shot. So appreciate everybody jumping on today. And I hope that everybody got my emails. I did send a list or a newsletter to my email list. I did it a week in advance to let everybody know that there was a power hour, and I did share it on my socials. So if for some reason, you're not watching this today, please let me know how the best way to communicate with folks so that I can make sure you're here. So if you want to be here. All right. So let's take a look in the comments. Got a lot of regulars here. All right. So, hey, SD Houston. Hi, everyone. Made friends with the like button. Appreciate that. And Matthew Creek first. Hey, you get a gold star, but it's going to be an imaginary gold star. All right. Jocelyn Carter, good morning. Milk Dreams, good morning. I have tea today, and I'll be working on the outline for my novel. That's great. I've got tea, too. I've got maple, we can't see this, but I've got maple syrup tea, which I didn't think those two things went in the same sentence, but it's actually pretty good. It's a black tea with like maple syrup in it, or maple leaves, I think. It's really good. It's from Vermont. Okay. And hey, TextVet Jeb, Jonathan, good morning. Just wanted to say hi. Well, hello. Thanks for stopping by. And Jocelyn is going to be getting some words in on her work in progress. Good stuff. Key Bale, hope I said that correctly, writes, howdy, I live in the land of editing, or today I live in the land of editing with butter rum tea in Chutzpah from East Tennessee. Butter rum tea. Now that sounds really good. Now, does that have rum? I mean, it's butter rum, but does that actually have rum in it? Morbidly curious. All right, Thunder, good morning. Jocelyn says she's having coffee, and Deborah Edwards is having hot chocolate while working on work in progress. DCJ says good morning. And SD Houston says I'm revising and drafting in my work in progress, fantasy romance. Wow, awesome. And let's see. And Thunder says, I'm glad to take a break from writing this morning. Well, hey, I'm glad this is the reason you're taking a break from writing. Good stuff. Okay. We got a lot of comments coming in. So I'm going to address a few of them, and you all know what I'm going to say after that. All right. So Keybell writes, question, when you all edit, do you carve out time for writing? I've been brain deep in editing, not writing on a new project, which means I'm not hitting my intended daily word count. Think about it like this. Every time you write, you're putting your foot on the accelerator. Every time you edit, you're putting your foot on the brake. So you can't accelerate all the time because you'll crash into something or you'll run out of gas, but you can't have your foot on the brake all the time because you're not going to go anywhere. So the best way to think about it is, how can you even out that time? So for example, a really easy way to think about this is, for every hour you spend writing, spend 20 minutes of that hour editing. And then you can do it as you go. That works really well for some people. Other times, you may want to break out some time for editing. You may want to edit in the evening and write in the morning. Why do I say edit in the evening? Well, I say edit in the evening because if editing is the first thing you do in the morning, then sometimes that can make it hard to switch gears into being more creative. But those are just some thoughts. I'm curious what everybody else has to say in the comments on that. Okay. Fable City, hello. And Dawn from Pennsylvania finally made a live chat, working on a shiny new penny story. Oh, those are always the best, aren't they? All right, good stuff. All right, Travis, good morning, my friend. Hope everybody's doing well. Haley, good morning, my friend. Finally finished some obnoxious chores so I can use these sprints to check on laundry. Hey, happy to be of service, Haley. All right. And Rachel T made it. Hey, Rachel T TV, good to see you. And B Vitamin Mios and water for now. Coffee is a brewing. Good stuff. All right. Well, I cannot get to all the comments just yet. I will get to all of them, but I want to say some things for people who are new, because it sounds like we've got some new people here. welcome. These are Writing Power Hour live streams. And on these streams, we come together as a community and we spend time for about 90 minutes or so writing and talking about things, writing, having some fun, watching me doing some interpretive dances and bad jokes. No, I'm just kidding. But we do spend our time writing here. So what I'm going to do in a few minutes is I'm going to throw a timer up on the screen along with some nice music. And the timer is going to count down from 20 minutes to 0. And during that 20 minutes, we will write as much as possible. Have fun. If you're editing, feel free to edit. If you're writing a script, feel free to do that. Whatever you want to do. It's just a time for you to be productive as a writer. All right. And then at the end of that 20 minutes, we come together, we celebrate our victories. You let me know how many words you wrote, and then I answer any questions that you have. Anything you want to think about. I'll be here to answer questions. We'll do this 3 times until we get to about 90 minutes. And at the end of the stream, as everybody knows, I will stay on this stream until everyone's questions are answered for the day. All right. So that's how this works. So inevitably, you all know there's going to be somebody that comes on and says, what is he doing? What is the point of this? Everybody knows what to do. Help a brother out in the comments. All right, Gussie, welcome. And Victor, hey, Victor, welcome to the community. Just discovered your channel a few days ago. I really like your work. Well, hey, I appreciate it. I'm glad you're here. And who is next? Oh, okay, to answer the editing question, Rachel TTV, I feel like I write when I edit, so I don't consider it a waste. It usually gives me a good direction on where I want the rest of the story to go. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. And SD says, recently I've gone away from measuring by word count, although I still mark the numbers. Instead, now I go by hours. Yeah, those are really the big 2 ways to go by it, right? You can measure your progress in word count, or you can measure it by hours. And I think there's pros and cons to both, but whatever way works best for folks is key. And Haley asks a question to the question, are you writing and editing the same project, or are you editing one project while writing another? So Keybell writes, I'll let you reply to that in the comments. Okay, and Keybell says those are fantastic ideas. So good stuff. All right. So, folks, I think it's time to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to throw the timer on the screen. But before I do that, actually, no, I'll do that in the next one. I'm going to throw the timer on the screen. Let's go ahead and get started. Happy writing, everybody, and we'll talk in 20 minutes. All right. We did it. Got through the first session. So let me know. Just for those who are new, I like everybody to put in the number of words that you did. And if you didn't do any words, if you weren't writing, if you're writing analog as one person's doing, just put in how you're feeling. You know, how are you feeling about what you did? Are you making progress? You know, because I believe if you feel good about what you're writing or you're editing, then it's going to be good. All right. It's pure psychology. All right. Let me make sure I'm in focus here. There we go. Okay. So while everyone's doing that, I'll answer some of the questions that came in. Haley, you got me. Yeah. We still have a festive timer screen. I didn't have time to change it. And plus, it's still kind of like ugly winter. So it's like, I'll just wait till March. So there'll be new assets and new decorations in March. But in the meantime, enjoy the Christmas spirit. Christmas in February. All right, DCJ, best places for info on working / getting paid under a pseudonym. You know, DCJ, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm assuming you're wanting to write like nonfiction, journalistic articles. If that's the case, you know, you might. Yeah, I don't know. There was a name that was like off the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know, unfortunately. You stumped me on that one. Okay. Next question. Or seeing the numbers come in. Oh, before we do that, I do want to let everybody know, in case you weren't at the last Power Hour, which is in December, I do have a new book out, and it is Be a Writing Machine 2. So took all the lessons that I've learned since the first Be a Writing Machine, and I distilled them into another book that is a continuation of the first Be a Writing Machine. So if you have read Be a Writing Machine, this is a sequel. It's a spiritual successor to it. And I cover a lot of things that people have been asking me to talk about on the channel for a long time, like writing on your phone. We go into some advanced dictation stuff. There's just a lot in here. So if you're interested, you can get the link. You can grab it at bookstoread.com /Be a Writing Machine 2. And it is available in ebook, paperback, large print, and human audio. So the narrator who did the audiobook for the first Be a Writing Machine, John Fryer, he came back so graciously and did the audio for this one. And at some point over the next month or so, I will be uploading the audiobook to YouTube, just like I did with some of my other audiobooks. So it'll be widely available for people to consume. But I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that it is available, and you can get your copy at bookstoread.com /Be a Writing Machine 2. And something that I do for Power Hour regulars, it's an open secret. I don't share this anywhere else. But if you do buy any books from me directly at authorlevelup.com /books, just use the code Power Hour, and you can get 15% off any book. And that includes Be a Writing Machine 2. So it's just a thank you for coming out today. If there's any books that I talk about or anything you see on my site that you're interested in, I do sell all of my books direct. Just use that code, and there's no there's no limitation on it or anything. So help yourself. All right. So let's see how everybody is doing. And we did have some more people that joined. Hey, Wyland, good to see you. Welcome. All right, Mr. Tree, Mr. Tree 818. Okay, I'm getting tongue-tied with the numbers here. Okay, 310 words. All right, fantastic. Mara P. Sullivan, less than 100. Hey, that's okay. No problem at all. 100 is better than 0. So good stuff. And Emily Nicole, I'm trying to set my characters up, and I think I'm doing well. Well, that is good. And Jonathan says, I'm editing my outline. My storyline is being enhanced. There we go. Good stuff. All right, Milk Dreams, just a few words, just writing my outline. Keybale writes, just making progress. Gussie edited 3 pages. Angela, 250 words. The Groundhog, Fable City Radio, the Groundhog says you're right about the weather. Yeah, absolutely. It's I actually like the cold weather though. Like I wasn't upset to hear that we got 6 more weeks of this left because I like being at home and I like having excuses to drink tea and staying in my house. All right. Retha, 316 words. Very nice. All right. Inca, I got here with 13 minutes left on the clock and added 330 words to my manuscript. Very nice. All right. And Wyland says it took him a minute to find his computer, but hey, that is all good. So, wow, I can't get to everybody's comments here, but this is fun. Okay. Let's see. Travis asks, do you ever write collaborations? I find I like working alone, but there are perks to networking. Yeah. I wrote a whole series with my friend Justin Sloan. It's called the Modern Necromancy series. And that was a lot of fun. And that was a great opportunity to kind of bounce my craft off of somebody else. And we did a really good job, I think, of working together with that. So that was great. I am working on another collaboration right now. I'm not at liberty to discuss it or share who I'm working with, but that's going to be fun. I think the book is going to come out later this year. We're not sure yet. It will be a nonfiction book, but that's going to be fun. But yeah, Travis, to your point, it is great. The key, though, is you've got to find the right partner. You got to find somebody who's on the same page with you, business-wise, and not necessarily craft-wise, but business-wise for sure, because you got to have a contract between the two of you that explains the responsibilities, and you got to address what happens if somebody dies. What happens if both of you don't agree on the direction of the book, or just all sorts of things can happen. So that's why you got to have the right person. I mean, it's kind of like picking somebody you're getting married to. I mean, you're going to own that copyright jointly with that person till the time you both die plus 70 years. So just something to think about. All right, Milo, what's up, Mike? What's up, Milo? Good to see you. And everybody's doing great. This is awesome. Matthew says, I love winter because I have a crippling bug phobia. The counterpoint to that, though, is that sometimes the bugs come inside. So that's never fun about winter. They like the warmth just like we do. All right. And Wyland says, Modern Necromancy is a good series. Well, thank you, Wyland. I appreciate that. I happen to enjoy it myself. Okay. We got some really good questions coming up about ChatGPT. And I'm going to delay those until our next session because I'm going to get on my soapbox and talk about some really fun stuff. Actually, it's not really a soapbox. It's more of a pedestal to talk about some stuff. All right. I love ChatGPT, and I'll talk to you guys about something I'm working on. Okay. Inca says, I love wintertime, but I'm English, so I don't need excuses to drink tea. This is true. I don't think you really need an excuse to drink tea. I just like to make up excuses. The sun came out today. Time to drink some tea. I had a bad day at work. Time to drink some tea. There's always good excuses to drink tea. But yes, being English, you get a pass. It's just tradition over there, and I love it. Okay. Well, everybody, I am seeing some more questions and word counts come in, but let's do this. Let's get to our second session just so we can get through that. I don't want to delay that. So I'm going to throw the timer up on the screen, and let's go ahead and get started. Best of luck, everybody, and let's get to it. All right, all right, all right. Let's see how everybody did. Let me know what your word count is and how you're feeling. All right. So while we do that, I'm going to answer some questions that came in. And first question is from Wyland. Have you ever read anything by M.R. Forbes? I have not. I've heard of M.R. Forbes, but I have not read anything from him. So I'll have to add him to my list. Next question is, do you have any thoughts on the controversy with Audible that's being talked about? Well, I have some thoughts, but here's the thing. It's for people who don't know, Audible has a monopoly on the United States audiobook market. They are pretty much the only player in town. There are smaller distributors like Findaway Voices and Authors Republic who are trying to break that, but it's pretty much Audible or bust here in the United States. And they set their prices such that it's really not transparent and you have no control over the pricing. So your book is whatever Audible says it's going to be priced at. And so I think it was 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, I don't even remember. I saw the email and just kind of groaned. They sent out an email that said that they are reducing the prices for all of their books across the board. Well, what that means is it potentially reduces the royalties that authors receive. So if you're exclusive with Audible, then you get, I think 40%. If you're not exclusive, it's like 20%. And so I've actually been waiting to see how the chips fall on this. I haven't seen my book prices affected just yet. I know they will be, but what I'm really looking for is the royalty statements. So, I don't think we're really going to see this until next month's royalty statements to see what the impact is truly here. But, it's unfortunate, but, it's not something that surprises me. I mean, I've kind of, I kind of have done some mock scenarios of what would happen if Audible did this, what would happen if KDP did this, so it is what it is. There's really not a whole lot we can do about it other than support causes like AudibleGate. If you've not heard of that, I will drop a link to that in the comments. That is a nonprofit effort aimed at trying to hold Audible accountable for some of the things that they're doing. It's partnered with I can't think of the name of the person that runs it, but the Alliance of Independent Authors supports it, and you can give money to them if you feel so moved to kind of help fight for us and advocate for us in this regard. But Audible says that because most people buy their books with credits, it may not be as big of an impact as people are thinking. But who knows? But either way, it still would be nice to get some pricing flexibility on Audible so that they're not the ones setting the prices. But I've said my piece on that. I think it's been relatively quiet. Like I thought more people would talk about this, but I think they're kind of where I am, that we're just kind of see how it plays out. So really good question. Okay. Wylan asks, how many books could a book chuck write if a book chuck could write faster than Michael Laran? I don't know, Wylan. I don't know. Don't know. Okay. Let's see. So I know there are questions on ChatGPT coming in. I'm going to reserve those until the end. How about that? Because I don't want to be limited in talking about that. So I am going to get to ChatGPT and GPT-3. Trust me. Okay. Fable City Radio, 202 words. Rachel TTV, 203. Mr. Tree, 818, 351. Deb Edwards, still editing. All right. Dawn, 200. Retha, feeling happy with the progress. That is great. If you feel good, the words are good. That's my thought. Okay. Inca, 505 words. Hit your daily goal. Hey, that's great. Oh, you're going for 4K today. Hey, awesome. Well, hey, you're halfway there. So, 2,000 words isn't that hard. It starts getting tough when you get over 2,500. I think. That's just my opinion. All right. Yeah, Haley says in regards to Audible, Brandon Sanderson is really shaking things up. Yeah, my hat goes off to Brandon Sanderson for using his platform to bring awareness to this. It's good stuff. Good to see people using their influence that way. Okay. Gav at Asia Robinson, thoughts on show versus tell. Why is show much more difficult? Well, show is not really that much more difficult, Gav. It's just a matter of how you do it. So when you show through the five senses of the viewpoint character. If you think about it that way, it actually makes it pretty easy, because then you're focusing on having the reader see and feel and hear and touch and taste what the viewpoint character is doing. If you can do that, then you don't have to worry too much about showing. All right. But yeah, people do give the show versus tell, but then they don't really tell you how to do it. That's how you do it. Viewpoint character, describe the setting through the 5 senses of that character, describe how the character is feeling about what's happening to them, and you'll find that the showing becomes a lot easier. Okay. Yeah, Rachel TTV, not a lot of people are talking about the situation. I feel like waiting on the art conversation to play out. Yeah, that's another one. That conversation, the temperature on that is pretty hot right now with AI art. It's almost like the third rail. You touch it, and next thing you know, you disintegrate. But the truth is that it's here. It's not going anywhere. I think it's up to us to figure out how we navigate this new landscape, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Matthew says, I will write a cooking book on how to cook books. All right. Well, don't end up in jail, Matthew. We don't want to see you in jail. We don't want to see the FBI knocking on your door. All right. And I know some people have to bail, so I appreciate everybody showing up. This is really good stuff. So DCJ, my flashback is going pretty good. Past the funny part. Now on to the drama. Awesome. All right. Let's see what else is coming in. Yeah, everyone's making good progress. So I forgot to say what I'm working on. So I'm working on a short story. I'm about, I think, maybe halfway through it at this point. I made some updates to my dictation process. And so I ran into a little bug with my dictation macro that I'm trying to figure out. But I got about 500 words in today so far. So I'm just trying to figure out how to solve this dictation problem with the code, which I don't think will be too hard, but I'm going to do that in the next 20 minutes, I think. And then I should be off to the races. I should be able to get over 3,000 words today if I'm lucky. So, I'm working on a lot of stuff. I've been a little slow this year. This year got off to a shaky start with everybody in my house being sick. So I'm trying to catch up, and I'm working on building some programs, which I will talk about after our next session with AI and GPT to kind of help me be more efficient. And so I've taken a hit on my word counts over the last probably 6 to 8 weeks, but it's going to be worth it once we get to spring. All right. And sorry for going out of focus today. I'm not sure what's going on. So, okay. Let us see. Oh, yeah. Rachel TTV says for AI art, I was surprised how prevalent it already is without realizing it. Yeah, and that's the problem. I'm a supporter of the technology. I think that artists have valid points, and I want to see how everything gets settled in courts. Hopefully, courts will make the right decisions that will respect the copyright of artists and also not shut the door on the technology. But I also think that whether you like AI art or not, just take that out of the conversation. You still have, every one of us on this call or on this live stream have something to worry about that we didn't have to worry about in the past. And that is, how do you know that your cover designer is not using AI art? How do you know that people you hire to do everyday things is not using AI art for whatever it is that you're hiring them to do? So you almost have to play defense. Like, you almost have to be cognizant of the fact that you have to screen people, make sure you pick the right people. But if you don't do contracts now between, cover designers, maybe think about doing contracts, and maybe think about, not legal advice, maybe think about putting something in your contract that says that the designer warrants that they are not using AI art generators on your cover, and that they'll hold you they'll hold you harmless and indemnify you for anything that arises from someone using from their use of the work if they happen to use AI art. Okay, I know that's a bunch of word salad, but the point is, you want your designer to verify that they're not using AI art, because if they do use AI art, and if things go in the courts the way that I think they're going to go, which is it may not be fair use, then you could be in trouble. You could get sued, especially if your work resembles work that is from another artist, or if it has some sort of a trademark in it or something like that. So you just got to be really careful. We have to play defense now in ways that we didn't play defense before. And that's the thing I don't see people talking about a whole lot. So just word to the wise, just be careful out there with your cover designs. All right. Okay. I'll answer one more question and then we'll jump in. And then you guys know I will answer all your questions at the end. I'm just saving the Chat GPT stuff till the end. Okay. Let's see. I'm seeing all your questions coming in. Someone says, I'm assuming this is in regard to AI art. Does it matter if they get the job done? Yes, it does matter, because you don't want to get sued and you don't want to have some sort of a legal risk for somebody that didn't do their due diligence or was using shortcuts. And you're the one that gets left holding the bag. And a lot of people who you hire for cover design and even editing nowadays aren't in your native country. So if something happens, and you're going to be the one that gets sued, you're going to be the one that has to deal with it. They're going to vanish into the horizon. So yeah, I know where you're coming from. Let's just get it done. But at the same time, there are risks, and unfortunately, people don't think about these risks until it's too late. Okay, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we jump into our last session? And then I have a feeling we're going to be talking about AI a lot after this. So let's jump into our final session, folks. Let's get it done. We are almost there. And a little bit more Christmas cheer on the screen coming your way now.
Hey baby, it's me. I was just calling to chat with you a little bit. I miss you a lot. And I miss hearing your voice.
All right. Good stuff. So, okay. So, let me know how everybody did. And now we get into the fun stuff. Okay. Lots of questions that came in and lots of fun comments that came in. So, I'm going to try to go through here. Just give me a bit of silence as I go through some of all this here. Okay, a lot of good discussions around the AI art piece. I'll let those be. And it's my understanding that Dale, why did I say Gail? My goodness. Dale Roberts is doing a live stream right around this time. So that's my brother channel. Dale's a friend. So I'm sorry I had to make you choose, but That's what the beauty of YouTube. You can always watch replays, right? All right, let's see here. Just gathering the questions. Okay. All right. Haley says we're in Chillville now. Yeah. Yeah. So all the music on these streams is courtesy of Chill Hop Records. They have a great program that allows you to stream their entire catalog royalty free, which is great. And it's good music. I really like the music. So okay. DCJ wrote about 6 paragraphs. Great excuse to use fountain pens and inks. Yeah. I remember having some hand cramps. It's okay, though. All right, 430 words dictated directly into Scrivener. Great. Nice job. Deb Edwards still editing. And Rachel TTV 290. Better this round, but just got into my flow. All right. Okay, so now I think I got to the bottom of everything here. So now let's go into some of the questions. All right. Zooble Zoo. I left placeholders in my manuscript as per your advice and finished my first ever manuscript in November. Hey, good job. Congratulations. I'm 2/3 through my multiple choice selections and eager to edit. Thanks for all you do. Well, hey, I appreciate that, and congratulations on your success. You're almost there. So get it published. That's the next step. All right. And Rachel T made a good comment around Fiverr. In terms of being on the defense with Fiverr. So if you're a gamer and you're looking for an editor, there's a 50-50 chance they're using an AI program for it. Yeah, it's a risk, right? So it's something you got to be aware of. I'm just trying to encourage people to stay safe out there. All right. And Fable City Radio says, just master the AI program yourself and do your own art. That's what I do. I never base mine on an existing artist's work. Yeah, absolutely. Do your own art. That's great, especially if you're an artist. You can use AI art to augment your process and help you get things done faster. If you're not an artist like me, I think the important thing is just to make sure that you never use other living artists in your prompts. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get work that's generated based on another living artist, but you want to do everything you can to try to use this tool responsibly. But yeah, the courts are going to settle this, so I'm very curious how this is going to go. Okay, Dino, what's your advice on how to sustain yourself financially while writing your novel? Well, I think the answer is to do what a lot of people do, which is don't quit your day job. And that is the reality of a lot of writers and probably most writers, and that's okay. So I think the key, and this is something that I have tried to do with my own career, is how can I optimize my time so that I'm getting the most out of my writing sessions, right? So that I have a full-time job, I have a family, got lots of other obligations and responsibilities. So I think that's the important thing. Don't quit your day job and figure out, from your day job, how much money can you allocate towards your writing? Are there tools that you can use that are low cost or easy to use for the time that you're getting started? And how can you really use technology and the tools that are already on your computer to be more productive? And honestly, how can you use tools like writing on your phone to be more productive? Because it's a matter of time and money. And so I talk about a lot of that stuff in my books, Be a Writing Machine and Be a Writing Machine too. So that might be something to be interested in. I also did a video on balancing writing time with money and all that. So just look at previous videos on my channel. You should be able to find what you're looking for. Okay. Gathering some more. Okay, Thunder did 121 words, still completing the scene. And Retha, 343 words. Nice job. All right, another question is from Dallas. I heard that there's an AI program that writes books for you. It's called ChatGPT. No, that's not true. That's not true. ChatGPT does a lot of things. Writing books is not one of them. That's just a that's a overhyped headline. ChatGPT is not very good at fiction writing. But let's talk about ChatGPT now. All right. So, okay. So the first question is from Jonathan. Have you tried ChatGPT as a brainstorming tool? So, okay. So for anybody who doesn't know what ChatGPT is, all right, ChatGPT is a tool that is created by OpenAI, and these are the people who are behind GPT-3. All right, GPT-3 is what's called a generative pre-trained transformer. All right, generative pre-trained transformer. And it's what's also called a large language model. And what it does is it exists to understand language so that it can predict the next word. All right, that's really all it does. It is really good at predicting the next word. So if you give it a string of text, it will predict what the next word is. So you could say, I love Christmas, and it might predict that the next word is music, or, and so it's really good at that. And I apologize if I'm bastardizing or oversimplifying the technology, but that's really what it is. So GPT-3 is the most current version of OpenAI's large language model. All right. And that is what a lot of tools like Sudowrite, Jasper, there's a bunch of other AI tools that are out there. That's what it's based. Those are based on GPT-3. And GPT-3 is really good at generating text. It's really good at generating code. There's lots of things it's really good at. Now, I say all that because now OpenAI released a new program or model. It's called ChatGPT. And what it is it is a chatbot that you can go to and you can type in anything you want and ask it questions. And 9 times out of 10, it will be able to reply to you. So if you type in, who is Michael Laron, it will give you my biography. If you type in, who is Joanna Penn, it will give you Joanna Penn's biography. If you type in math questions, word problems, it will answer those word problems. If you say, write a 500-word article on, choosing the right camera for your writing, it will do that. And it will even write code. In fact, it will write VBA macros. So if you want to write, Microsoft Word macros, you guys know I love those. It will write Microsoft Word macros. It will write Python code. I had it write a Python script, I think 2 days ago, a really complex Python script. And so it's kind of being touted as this wonder tool that can kind of eat Google's lunch. It can kind of do a lot of things. And so people are finding all sorts of uses for ChatGPT. And what I have found, so someone asked, is it good at writing novels? No, but it is good at writing nonfiction. It is a very capable nonfiction writer. So that's one use. So to get to Jonathan's question, because I know it's a long-winded thing to get to your question, but I want to make sure people understand what we're talking about here. All right. So have you tried ChatGPT as a brainstorming tool? And the answer to that is I have. I used it as a brainstorm for, I have a series I write called Indie Author Confidential. And I have some chapters in an upcoming volume in that series is basically like a journal of my writing career. All right. It's a journal of my writing career. So in that, what I do is I talk about the things that I'm learning, all sorts of things that I'm, experimenting with, all that. All right. And so when I was writing a chapter on AI art, I said, okay, give me some good counter arguments on, people who support AI art, people who don't. And it gave me some really interesting things to think about. It was almost like I was debating it, or it was debating itself. And so, yeah, that was a great tool to help me round out that chapter. All right. So for nonfiction, absolutely fantastic for brainstorming. All right. I didn't use ChatGPT, but when I was writing my estate planning books, I used Sudowrite. And Sudowrite was really good at giving me some interesting ideas to explore for estate planning. So that was cool. But yeah, it's definitely very capable at generating ideas for world building, story development, all that stuff. It's not really perfect at it, but it's good at giving you some jumping off points and good ideas. And, ChatGPT is free right now. So I imagine it'll be free for the foreseeable future. So give it a shot. You may not be 100% impressed with everything that it can do, but it is very capable, and there's lots that it can do. I've been quite impressed with what it can do, and that leads into the next question from Michael Weiland. How is your ChatGPT project progressing? All right, so I learned that ChatGPT can do something that models before it have not really been able to do very well, and that is it is a very good proofreader. So, for example, if I run one of my chapters through ChatGPT and I say, edit this text for typos only, and then I paste the text in, it does an amazing job at capturing typos and errors. Things like if you miss an article, like you say, I want to go to the mall, but you forgot the to, it'll insert that. It's really good at catching formatting quirks. It's unbelievable. In fact, I've done tests. I tested my last manuscript that I sent to my editor, and I basically took sections of that and I ran the unedited text through ChatGPT. ChatGPT caught 50% of the things that my editor caught. Now, keep in mind that before I send my work to my editor, it has already gone through Grammarly. It has already gone through Pro Writing Aid, and it's already gone through Microsoft Word. So everything that ChatGPT is catching is totally new stuff. So you can imagine with me for a minute, do some mental gymnastics, that if you could develop an application that used ChatGPT to edit your work, or at least proofread and catch just typos, you could cut your edits in half. All right, so just dream with me for a minute. So I decided, okay, what if I could develop an application that hooks into GPT-3, ChatGPT, and now the GPT-4 that's coming, that could basically do that? What if I created an application where I could upload a Microsoft Word document, have it edited by ChatGPT or whatever I wanted, and then it returned a Microsoft Word document that has the edits as track changes. So I could just go through and accept and reject the ones that I don't want, right? So that's what I'm doing right now. That's the project. So there's two ways that you can do it. There's one way is you can Google Docs does have a way to communicate with the OpenAI API. It's the basically the program that you can use. You can connect to it. You pay so much per word, and it can edit it for you. But Google Docs isn't really working out that well. But I have a programmer right now that is working on developing a Python/Word application that basically allows me to do just that. And so far, it's looking really good. So I think it's possible. The only downside is that ChatGPT doesn't technically have a way to connect with it right now. The only way to communicate with it is to actually go to the ChatGPT website. But they are soon going to be releasing an API. And I apologize if some of this is, word salad. But an API is basically an engine that you can connect to where you can get data from it and do what you want to do with it. All right. So basically, you create an application. The application interfaces with OpenAI, and it does whatever you want it to do. So if you want to have it edit your text, it can edit your text. If you want to have it generate some ideas for brainstorming, as Jonathan mentioned, you can have it do that. You can just type in the prompt that you want, and it will do it for you, and you don't have to go to the website. All right. And it's just a little bit more efficient and easier to use. So I think within the next 2 weeks, I will have a working application. If it is easy to use and if it makes sense, I will share it with folks. Because I'm a big believer in being able to use this technology. If it's not easy to use, or if there's some technical parts to it, I probably won't, just because I recognize that not everybody is comfortable doing stuff like this. But it's just amazing right now, like how easy it is and how quick you can develop applications. I mean, ChatGPT can write applications. Like it can basically write code. It can debug code too. If there's something not working right, it can debug it. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to look at the comments here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Rachel TTB says, I'd say it's like being an influencer. It's a grind, and you should diversify if you are depending on creative income alone. Yeah, and that's back to the question of supporting yourself financially as an author. Yeah, diversifying your income is critical. Rich asks, what about art in Canva design? Well, I haven't been in Canva lately. I don't use Canva that much. I'm not sure if they're adopting AI art generators, but it's something to be careful of as well. Like I said, you can't run away from this no matter what you do. Okay, Dino Manrique says, ChatGPT is wonderful for brainstorming every stage of the writing process. Yeah, it is. It is. It's I've been pleasantly surprised with a lot of the things it's been able to do. Fable City Radio says AI art generators are excellent for designing web pages for sites. I never thought about that, but that's probably not a bad idea. Okay. Oh yeah. Fable City Radio says AI art generators are also awesome for sparking creative writing because it generates images that help you think of creative stories to go along with them. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay. Rich says, what about Canva design for art and book cover design? I'm not really a big fan of it, Rich, to be honest with you. I've seen some people use Canva and get good results. I just think you need a little bit more flexibility. I'm not crazy about having to use Photoshop, but I've never been able to use Canva and been able to do everything that I've wanted to do with it. It just feels like you're in a box, and I'm just not a huge fan of that. BookBrush is a little bit better, but you still have some of the issues with BookBrush. Like there's just some things you just can't do with book covers that you would want to be able to do. So, it's a bit of a hot take. I'm a fan of using Photoshop. I think there's going to come a day once we settle some of these issues with AI art and it eventually becomes safe to use from a legal perspective. I think it's not inconceivable that when you use a tool like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, that you could get like when you generate art, you could click a button and get a layered Photoshop file where all of that work is done for you, and then you just have to tweak around the edges, or you can hire somebody to help you with it. But yeah, just Michael Laron's opinion. I'm just not a huge fan of using Canva for book covers. Just doesn't give you the firepower that I typically like. Okay. Fable City says, I use Midjourney. Yep, Midjourney is great. And yeah, for AI, anything AI, jumping off is the key phrase. That's exactly right. Don't take stuff from AI art generators or AI text generators and just use it full sail. And the reason for that is because it is really just a remix of everything that the model was trained on. So look it up sometime if you're ever interested. Look up the data set for GPT-3 and look at what they used to train the model. I think it will surprise you. It will surprise you. One of those data sets is really, really interesting. All right. So yeah, but yeah, it's not generating. I mean, it's generating text that's probably original, I would say, but it's generating that from a pool of text below it, to torture the analogy a little bit more. So you don't want to take it wholesale because you could be committing copyright infringement or plagiarism. Okay, Thunder, I'm going to try to answer this. On Scrivener, when I go to composition mode, how can I toggle quickly between the worksheet with the binder and inspector? Okay, try split screen, Thunder. There's a little button. It's on the top right of the editor, and it's a little button. You kind of can't miss it. Click that, and it will create a split screen, and you might be able to do that. But the binder is always going to be on the left-hand side of your screen, no matter what you do. But yeah, so, try that, see if that works. I don't think that really answers your question, but I tried to answer it as best as I could. Let's see. Wylan asks, how many of your short stories have you gotten picked up so far? One. Yeah, one. One so far on my most recent initiatives. I haven't really tried to submit short stories until like September. So I'm getting a lot of rejections, not going to lie. And that's okay. It's part of the game. I don't really lose sleep over it. But I did get one acceptance. I'm not able to announce that just yet. But yeah, I wrote a story in September and it got accepted right away. So we'll see if I can keep it going. Let's see. Wylan asks, any chance you might be doing 2 power hours a month during beast mode again this year? Yeah, I'll think about it, Wylan. I'm going to try. I got to start planning for beast mode again. So for those who don't know, beast mode is a month where I just got to go crazy. I write as many words as humanly possible. I have some days where I do 5,000, 6,000, sometimes even 10,000 words a day. So I'm definitely going to need a beast mode this year. So I will take that under consideration. And then Wylan also asks, is the whole AI thing giving you ideas for any stories? Perhaps new Android X? Yeah, it is, for sure. I've been playing around with the ideas for sequels to my Android X series for a while. Just haven't gotten around to it. So maybe I will get around to that at some point. Dallas asks, how do you find book reviewers? Well, book reviewers, they're a lot harder to find than they used to be. I would start with a service called Book Sirens. You can go to authorlevelup.com/booksirens. That is an affiliate link, but they're a great service. They basically allow you to connect. You basically post your book on their site, and then they connect you with reviewers. And the cool thing about it is that they actually give you some data on these reviewers. Like they tell you other books they've reviewed, how frequently they leave reviews. It's a really, really good service, and it's really affordable too. So Book Sirens is one I would check out. Booksprout is another one that I would check out. And beyond that, it's kind of tough. But you got to kind of have to do what you can. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Vagrant Vagabond. I love the counterpoint comments here. So I'm sure ChatGPT can do some good stuff, but I don't think it can replicate the style that writers develop. And you are 100% correct. All right. It can't really, it can write in some styles, but it's not, you're never going to, right now anyway, you're never really going to be able to get it to write in your voice. So anything that you write, you really have to edit it into your voice. So will that change? Yeah, it could. Certainly could change. But right now, very, very capable for nonfiction. Fiction, not so much. I haven't been impressed with any of the fiction that it or like Sudowrite can do. But, the technology's evolving. All right, let's see. Okay, Galen, this is a good comment. My father is a programmer, and we had some fun together generating code with ChatGPT. The problem is it cannot handle large sections. The best we got it to do was design a countdown function. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have a very good memory. So if you submit something to it, I think the max memory is like 4,000 tokens. So which is somewhere around like 3,500 words, just maybe a little bit over 3,000 words. So it doesn't really have a good memory horizon. So this is why it doesn't really write good fiction, because if you feed it something, it doesn't really remember what came before. So that's why, I said it was kind of a bogus claim that it can write novels. It really can't write novels. Maybe it could write like very simple microfiction, but even then it's going to be in a very storytelling kind of way. It's not going to really be in a writerly voice. Just go check it out. Try it yourself. Give it a prompt. Say something like, tell me a fairy tale, or tell me a short story about blah, blah, blah. And just read it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I believe you with the code as well. It doesn't handle large sections very well at all. So as the memory horizon, or whatever you want to call it, increases, I think the technology will get better. All right. Vagrant says, also my biggest concern I have with AI in this case is that it seems a little like tech bros try to do this to devalue labor of humans so the already rich can get richer at the expense of labor for others. Yeah, Vagrant, I'm not sure about that. There definitely are some tech bros out there for sure. And some of the stuff they're doing is just kind of disgusting, but I don't necessarily know that they're trying to, create a dystopian society. I think that is certainly a possibility. I think that really they're just trying to figure out how the technology works. And there are some folks in that community that don't really care about the consequences of what the technology can do. And I think that's the problem. But, your point is well taken. Tanya, Canva already has an AI art function. Yeah, thanks, Tanya, for letting me know that. That doesn't surprise me. Shutterstock has one as well, and it's pretty horrendous right now. But I think that is the right way to do it because hopefully Canva got all of their art cleared. Their database. Hopefully they did that. Shutterstock has one now where you can kind of do it, and they say that they're compensating the creators, which I think is a good thing. I think we can argue about whether the compensation is the right amount, but at least they're trying to do something. So hopefully Canva is doing something like that as well. Dino, what is more useful for now in terms of writing fiction, ChatGPT or Sudowrite? Neither is more useful. Writing fiction by yourself is the way to do it. I would say, maybe Sudowrite is a little better, but both of them they kind of have the same problems. So if I was going to use one or the other, I probably, I have a Sudowrite subscription, so I like it for certain things, but they're both about the same to me. Yeah, Tanya says that's why they're making ChatGPT free now, so it can learn to write from what we input. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you use these free things or even the paid services, you're the product. You're training their model essentially, and that is a very true thing. And so I think everybody has to make their decision on one. If you do use ChatGPT, is the value you're going to get from it worth giving up some of your data? And then the second thing to think about is how can you use these tools to get yourself an advantage in the future, in a future where everyone is using AI. I think it's really important to start thinking about that because there are going to be some people that get left behind. Okay, Galen, the writing it produces fiction is has quite a bit of an uncanny valley effect for me. It gets the technical aspects of writing 100% correct, but it still feels off. And the reason it feels off is because it doesn't it's all tell. It doesn't show. So it doesn't really give you any five senses. It doesn't really give you any. It doesn't get into the head of the characters, and I think that's the thing it's missing. But it could be coming. Yeah, Vagrant. No, you're not being a Debbie Downer at all, Vagrant. I think it's important to talk about both sides because I think one of the problems right now, and I think it's going to continue to be a problem. It's definitely a problem for AI art, is that the loudest voices are the ones being heard. But I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, and so I think we have to be able to talk about this like civilized people, in order to come up with a solution. All right. Let's see. Wylan, what are your thoughts on AI audiobooks? I know you did one for a nonfiction book. I'm excited for the idea. Yeah, there was a lot of buzz around AI audiobooks last year. It seems to have petered out a little bit. So Google has a really good service, and I like it a lot. I think that AI audiobooks they're the future. I think that human audiobooks are never going to go away, and I'm going to continue investing in human audiobooks, but there are some audiobooks that just don't make sense to hire a human for. So for example, I have a series that's called Indie Author Confidential, and it's, like I said, a journal of all the stuff that I'm doing in my writing career, and I release that book series quarterly. It would put me in the poorhouse if I had to hire a human narrator every single time, and I would love to narrate that series, but to do an audiobook every quarter is just a bit much for my schedule and my productivity. So this is a perfect use case for AI audio, right? There's a lot of short nonfiction books that are perfect use cases for this. So I think that it complements the existing format. It doesn't necessarily take away work from any human narrators, because I think a lot of people who are making audiobooks with this technology are probably people who are making audiobooks for books that would have never had audio to begin with. So to me, I think it's a yes, and I think narrators are right to be concerned, just like artists are right to be concerned. But I don't think you can stop the flow of the technology. And I think it's up to all of us to figure out um, how we use this to live in this new world that we're coming into. Okay. Dino Manrique, Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, is a universal basic income advocate. Yeah, yeah. I mean, in a world of AI, I think that's going to be the future. So, what are you going to do? So, but yeah, this has been a really good conversation around AI. I mean, like I said, I'm one of those people that I am supportive of the technology. I'm not 100% like, this technology is going to usher in the utopia and that, tech companies that create this technology are doing no harm at all. No, I don't think that's true. But I also am supportive of the rights of artists, because whatever happens to artists is probably what's going to happen to writers. And so anything we can do to support artists, I think, is important. But I think we also have to remember that this technology is not going anywhere, and that it's going to continue to, tech companies are going to continue to do what tech companies do. And as I keep saying, it's up to us to figure out how to adapt. And that sometimes is going to require us to do things that make us uncomfortable. It's going to require us to learn skills that we don't want to learn. It's going to require us to go off and go down paths that maybe we would have never thought about 5 years ago. But it's essential to surviving in the new world, and in this new world that we're moving into, because things are changing rapidly. I mean, it's just kind of crazy to think about how fast this technology is moving. I mean, a lot of the things I probably said about ChatGPT on this live stream could be obsolete as soon as next month, right? That's just how fast things are moving. And so if you're not paying attention to this, maybe pay attention to it and just try to figure out what you can do. And Fable City Radio says, human beings have never been able to uninvent anything. It's time to educate yourself about AI software by using it. Yeah, and eventually there will be more applications and use cases that will make it easier for people to do too. So like right now, like I'm developing applications, but that's because I have that skill set. I know how to work with a programmer and get what I want from the exchange, and I know how to articulate what I'm looking for. But right now, it's not really that easy. Like, I guess I have a unique skill set. The average person, not so easy for them to do. But tools like ChatGPT now make it easier for people to do that. And so once it becomes more ubiquitous and people start developing applications on top of it, I think it's going to be a lot easier. The barrier to entry is going to become a lot lower. And so then everyone will be able to use it. And I think that's going to be a good thing. And so the sooner you can learn how to adopt the technology, the more of an advantage you're going to have. And so that's just a open challenge. That's just a open challenge, and to me, indicative of the game of life. All right. So let's take a look. I'll give a last call for questions here. In the meantime, I'm going to take a look at the calendar so we can get the next Power Hour announced. Okay. So, my friends, the next Power Hour will be on Saturday, March 4th. All right, Saturday, March 4th. And I will have new graphics and new music at that point. So, I will make sure to announce that as well. And yeah, so I'm not seeing any more questions come in. So, thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you for all the questions. Very much appreciated. And yeah, we'll talk next week or next month. So happy writing, everybody, and have a wonderful February. Take care.